Good morning, racers and race fans, and welcome to day number 2 of our Mountain Sled Fest Sunday Fun Day X Racing activities here at Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire. For those of you who were on the live stream yesterday, you may have noticed we are taking a slight detour from our typical Midwestern races. You might be used to seeing Sunday Fun Day and MBTV Sports going around racing in the Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin area. However, this weekend we've been brought out to nice, warm, sunny Plymouth, New Hampshire to do some Sunday Fun Day races here over on the east coast of things. So we're changing things up a little bit. We had a great night last night of some snowcross racing. Went through a couple heats and a set of finals for that. And today we're back for 3 different events. We're starting off this morning with some hillcross racing. We just had practice going on just about a few minutes ago. We're getting all set and ready to go for heat racing action here. And boy, oh boy, do we have an absolutely stacked morning for you guys here. 31 races that we'll be going through here this morning, doing some hillcross racing at Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire. 31 races. We will be doing 2 sets of heats and then a final similar to the snowcross structure that we had last night. So just for this hillcross section, we will be looking at 93 total races hitting the track. Once again, that is 2 sets of heats, 1 set of features. Lots of good action coming at you on these beautiful snow-covered slopes here. You know, we have some really warm temperatures, especially for the winter. I was looking earlier, and I believe it's about 45 degrees out right now. We're looking at a high of 52 for the day, so warm weather, but we still got some nice snow to be able to do some great snowmobile racing here at Tenney Mountain. Here's some nice drone footage looking over the course of what we're seeing for this hillcross race today. Couple different level structures that we have going up there, a few little plateaus for our riders, and we'll be doing this in the race fashion where we'll be having, you know, a handful of riders on the track at once, similar to almost like a straight snowcross run, not a single sled going up at a time for a timed qualifying event, but a full-on race to the top of Tenney Mountain. Lots of riders out here this morning. Friday night we had a decent turnout for the snowcross section. Had about 10 races. This morning things are already growing and getting better over here for the weekend of events at Sunday Fun Day. Like I said earlier, we have 31 different races that we'll be going through just for the hillcross portion. We're doing that here this morning. Then we're going to take a quick little intermission, if you will, a little afternoon break. Grab some food, let our racers rest up a little bit before we get to the evening portion of our races, where we'll be back on the snowcross track yet again, just like we had last night. We'll be doing some snowcross racing, and we'll also be bringing the Sunday Fun Day activities here out to the East Coast. So we'll be doing some similar races there to the snowcross. We have a slightly different track, more of an infield track that we're running for the Sunday Fun Day races. For the snowcross races tonight, 1 feature structure similar to the snowcross races last night and the hill climb races this morning. And then for the Sunday Fun Day side of things, we'll be doing a 1 heat dual main, kind of a 2-show action for that show. So lots of racing activity going on today. It is just about 11:45 a.m. Eastern time here over in New Hampshire. The snowcross and Sunday Fun Day racing events should be starting at about 5:30 Eastern tonight, getting some practice in at 5 p.m. But right now, we are here getting ready for the hillcross portion of the race. Checking out some of our racers, making sure they are all set and ready to go before we go to some green flag action here momentarily. Well, we got a couple minutes. Want to take a little bit of time to thank some of our sponsors. You know, we wouldn't be able to be bringing the X Racing Sunday Fun Day events over to the East Coast if it weren't for a few of these guys out here. You know, obviously, first and foremost, we need to give a huge shout out to Tenney Mountain. We're super appreciative of them for letting us come to their facilities here. They're helping us build a track on their ski slopes, so they're always happy to have us. We're happy to be a part of them. They're going through this slight revival that they had during the 2022-2023 ski season, kind of building things back up, and we are more than happy to be a part of the activities here alongside with them. Getting our first race lined up here and ready to go. We got two classes here starting things off for the day. We have our women's 600 stock class with the HX of Laura Champagne out of Stamford, Vermont, racing for Green Mountain Racing, Arctic Cat, FXR, Get Decked. And in the junior 14 to 17 class, we have the 10 of Chase Meekin out of Meredith, New Hampshire, racing for HK Power Sports, and the 12 of Brennan Camo out of Nashaw, New Hampshire. Our three riders are all lined up, ready to go to get our very first green flag of the day. Riders at the line. Making sure we are all ready. Engines are revving. The drone checking out our three riders there. Green light is out, and we are racing. Middle rider up the inside with a nice rocket start. If I'm seeing things correctly, I believe that might be Meekin and Camo side by side. Inside rider able to take that nice deep drive through that middle portion of the track. Single file throughout our top three riders, back two riders, getting a little side-by-side action going on there. And just like that, our first checkered flag of the day coming in. Camo going to take the win in the 14 to 17 class. Meekin going to finish second. And we got Champagne taking that solo win in the women's 600 stock class. Race one out of the way. This will bring us on to race number 2 of the morning. Race number 2 up next, Mountain Sled LT class. We got 4 competitors here this morning. The 0 of Donald Levitt out of New Gloucester, Maine. The 11 of Ken Bell from Gorham, New Hampshire. Mike Wine piloting the ET. Wide open throttle graphics, CNA, Pro Ski, Traction Boy, EVS, Rock Speed Effects, Hinks, Backcountry Addicts number 127, and the 242 of Clayton Green out of Warren, New Hampshire. 3 sleds making the call. Lights are out and away we go. Green on the inside looked like he had a nice little start there going on. Side-by-side action at the front of the field. Green to the inside.
Your feet, what happened? I don't have you right now, Mark.
It's still side-by-side. Our outside rider able to get a little shot right at the end there. And checkered flag is out. It's going to be the 11 of Ken Bell taking the win in the Mountain Sled LT class. Green, even after that hard charge, going to settle for second place, and it'll be the 0 of Levitt rounding out our top 3. The 127 of Wynn going to be a scratch on the morning. Race 3 up next. 2 classes yet again. The 600-650 Open LT class. We have the 12 of Brennan Camo out of Nashaw, New Hampshire, and the 30 of Lucas Vadi, racing for Why We Ride Podcast, Polaris Studboy, and USI Skis out of Mansville, New York. And in the Mountain Sled LT class, we have the 20 of Jacob Dion out of Methuen, Massachusetts, racing for Doyen's Appliance, Capstone Landscaping. The 64 of Brian Burkle out of Verona, New York. And the RACI of Tyler Duncan from Brownfield, Maine. Engines are revving. sleds are out, and away we go. Our two inside riders side by side pulling away from that third place competitor over on the right-hand side. Single file up through the top. And it's going to be the 30 Avati taking the win in the 600-650 class. Duncan going to take the lead in the mountain sled class on that RACI bike. And the 20 of Doyen will be rounding out your top three. Next up, race number 4, 600 stock. We have the 45 of Sam Heckman out of Hampton, New Hampshire, the 85 of Robert Knight, 118 of Jake Barrows, 253 of Kyle Sackett, 451 of Dylan Adams, and the 2025 of Adam Levi. Looks like we got a late entry there. Heckman pulling into the inside on the 45. Lights are out. And it's that second to the inside sled with the early jump. Nice off of the line, a good rocket start there. It's Sackett, Levi, Heckman, Barrows, Adams, Knight making their way up the hill. Sackett on the 253, gonna take that W. The 2025 of Levi finishing second, and it's Heckman on the 45, rounding out your podium for race number 4. Up next, race number 5, 600 stock. Class number 2. Looks like we got a few different classes, or a few different divisions of this 600 stock class. That was division number 1. Up next, division number 2 of 3 for race number 5. We have the 12 of Brennan Camo out of Nishaw, New Hampshire. The 64 of Wyatt Packin out of Gilmanton, New Hampshire, racing for HK Power Sports. The 81X of Wesley Ganshaw from Bethlehem, Connecticut, racing for JRC Transportation. Ganshaw had a pretty solid night last night doing that snowcross racing that we had here for our first night at Tenney Mountain. 218 of Kevin Gottfried racing out of Wentworth, New Hampshire. The 307 of Jake Lux, also hot off a pretty solid night last night from Westernville, New York. And rounding out our 6 sled race number 5, Division 2 for 600 stock, we have the 902 of Dana Christofferson from Richford, New York, racing for Doug's Power Sports. You see the 218 of Godfrey there, pulling down to the inside. 307 of Jake Lux, piloting that bright green Articat, taking the inside line. Lux and Godfrey opting to that inside section. Nice little drone footage of our riders there. Looks like 5 of our 6 racers making the call. Looks like the 218 of Godfrey checking some things out. Chatting with the track workers behind him. We see Joe Duncan right behind him, chatting with Godfrey. Joe Duncan, leader of X Racing here, helping us bring these Sunday Fun Day activities out to the east coast of New Hampshire, from all the way inland from Minnesota. Some of our streamers might be used to seeing Sunday Fun Day's activities on MBTV Sports at ERX Motor Park in Elk River, Minnesota, but we're bringing things this weekend out to New Hampshire here at Tenney Mountain for the Mountain Sled Fest. Race number 5, engines revving. Light is green and away we go. Outside rider with a rocket start. But we've got that inside middle rider trying to battle 3 wide up to the top. Side-by-side battle. And the advantage is going to go to the 307 of Jake Lux. It's Lux, Ganchow, Christofferson, 1, 2, 3. Wyatt Packin going to finish 4th on the 64. Kevin Godfrey finishing 5th, rounding out your top 5. So that's another win in the books for Lux this weekend. Ganshaw going to settle for 2nd place after a solid night last night. Dana Christofferson rounding out that podium finish for division number 2 of our 600 stock ST class. And finally, Division 3, 600 stock ST race number 6. We got 6 more entries. We had 6 in Heat 1, 6 in Heat 2, 6 in Heat 3 for a total of 18 entries on the day. Starting off lineup for Division 3, though, we have the O2 of Brian Whaley out of Laconia, New Hampshire, racing for HK Power Sports. Lucas Vadi piloting the 30 for Why We Ride Podcast, Polaris, Studboy, and USI Skis out of Mansville, New York. Eric Bordeaux racing for Articat, Shock Tech, Trailside Power Sports on the 44 from Alton, New Hampshire. The 58 of Luke Kearney out of Bridgewater, Maine, racing for Kearney Pallets. Then we also have the 221 of Benjamin Adams from Blue Hill, Maine. And the 712 of Devin Diker out of Old Forge, New York. We've got riders in this division ranging from age 24 all the way up to 43. And we've had racers in this class. Our youngest so far was young Brennan Camo, just a young 13 years old. Ganshaw, another name, finished 2nd in that last race, only 15 years old. Going all the way up to some of the more seasoned riders, as we'll call them. Godfrey in that last race, a young 63 years old. So this is an awesome class to see, you know, a nice spread of talent from the younger side all the way up to the more seasoned veterans of the snowmobile racing industry here. So it's a nice class for just about everyone here. And to make things a little bit better for our riders, this is also one of our pay classes we have today. So like I said, we have about 31 races going on today. Of those, we've got 10 classes that are paying. So they'll be racing for a little extra dough in their pockets. You know, they may be riding a yellow Skidoo, but they're hoping to come home with a little extra green in this class. We have the O2 of Whaley lining up. Just to the inside of him, the 44 of Bordeaux. 58 of Kearney lining up on the inside. 712 of Diker opting to take that far outside line to the right of the 30 of Vadi. And there we have the 221 of Adams rounding out our 6 sled field. Engines are revving. Racers are ready. Lights are out, and away we go. Looks like that might have possibly been the 44 of Bordeaux with that early lead. Nice battles raging on. Single file, though, but at the line, I have misspoke. It was actually the O2 of Whaley that had that nice jump there at the very beginning. Whaley with almost a 2-second lead over the second place rider, the 58 of Luke Kearney, going to finish 2nd. And on that 3rd and final step of the podium, it's going to be Benjamin Adams on the 221. Another 2 seconds behind the 58 of Kearney. So our top 3 riders spread apart by 4 seconds almost. Some solid single file racing there for race number 6. Up next, race number 7. This will be a little bit smaller class than what we've seen the past few rounds. Our junior 9 to 13 class. We got 2 competitors making it to the track for race number 7. The 10 of Chase Meekin out of Meredith, New Hampshire, racing for HK Power Sports. And we've got the 12 of Brennan Camo out of Nashaw, New Hampshire. Both competitors 13 years old, racing the Skidoos. making sure our riders are all set and ready to go before we get them lined up. We got a lot of action coming at you guys. Like I said, 31 races. We're doing a 2-heat, 1-feature structure for our Hillcross portion of the races today. Lots of different racing that we'll have out here today. Everything from the young guns like we're seeing now in this junior 9 to 13 class. We have some Ditchbanger classes, a couple plus 40 classes, vintage classes, women's classes. We got some high level 850, 900 open, 859, 850, 900 stock classes. All sorts of racing here for the Hillcross portion. The 12 of Camo opting to take the outside. Looks like that's the 179 lining up on the inside. Not sure if that's Meekin on a different numbered sled. Side-by-side action. Camo with a rocket shot right off the line. Pulling away from the 10 of Meekin. Able to get side-by-side. Nice battle to the end. And with a .02 advantage, it's going to be the 10 of Meekin taking the win in the 9 to 13 class. Camo going to have to settle for a devastating second. Race number 8 up next, our Trail Sled Open ST class. We've got 5 competitors on the lineup. 1 of Schmidt, 4 of Drew, 55 of Knight, 72 of Riley, and the 99 of Hatwick. Looks like only 3 of them are going to be making the call. A 72 of Hatwick, or 72 of Riley on that inside line with the neon green sled. Able to get a nice jump off that start line. As one of our riders seems to be having some issues there. Believe that might be the 55 of Knight struggling there on that first little plateau. Up top, though, it's going to be the 1 of Schmidt who's able to take that overall win. The 72 of Riley, after that nice start, they're going to settle for second. Knight going to finish third after struggling there with that DNF. Race 9 up next. We have 2 classes coming at you. In our plus 40 600 stock class, we have the F7 of Jay Page out of Center Barnstead, New Hampshire. Benjamin Urso piloting the Land and Sea Power Sports, Addison Cabling Solutions, Rathburn Performance, Goodwin Performance, number 121, out of Bristol, Connecticut. Urso had a pretty solid night last night as well, hoping to do the same today in the Hillcross portion of our competitions. We also have the 218 of Kevin Godfrey from Wentworth, New Hampshire. We saw Kevin Godfrey a little bit earlier on in our 600 stock ST class. For the second class in race number 9, our plus 40 open class. We've got plus 40 600 stock, plus 40 open, bringing our 40 plus racers out here in droves. For the plus 40 open class, we have 3 competitors as well. The HX of Trevor Tatro out of Stamford, Vermont. The 11 of Ken Bell from Gorham, New Hampshire. And the 111 of Pepperell, Massachusetts, Lonnie Hellman. Hellman, Bell, Tatro in the plus 40 open class. Godfrey, Urso, Page in that plus 40 600 stock class. We see the 121 of Urso and the F7 of Page making the lineup. Page on the inside in that red F7. Side by side with the 121 of Urso. Two more riders pulling in beside them. I believe that's Tatro in the green sled with the red gear. Lights are out, and away we go for race number 9. Side-by-side battle for second and third there, but it's our leader out front pulling away, making it look easy. Believe that was Kevin Bell on the 11, taking the overall win. Urso going to finish second overall, taking the win in the plus 40 600 stock class. Tatra on the HX finishing third place overall on that second place for the plus 40 class. Up next, though, race number 10. We have the 873 you see there of Sean Sullivan out of Laconia, New Hampshire. We have the 127 of Mike Wynn on that yellow Skidoo. Side by side, we're also supposed to see the 027 of Nicholas Ross, the Q6 of Colton Gillian, and the 918 of Hunter Riley. Looks like only 2 of our sleds making the call for the race number 10. This is Ditchbanger 90 to 2003. Division 1 of 2. Sullivan gonna take the nice win there with a 4-second advantage over the 027 of Nicholas Ross. I apologize, that wasn't a win on the 27, it was Ross on the 027. 3 scratches in that class. Race number 11 up next. 192 of Eric White, 218 of Kevin Godfrey, 451 of Dylan Adams, and the 34 of Matthew Stoddard. It's Eric White with the early jump on that red and black 192 machine. Single file up through the field for all 3 of our competitors, and it's going to be White taking the early win on that 192 out of Laconia, New Hampshire. Dylan Adams on the 451 going to finish second. 4.5 second gap between our top 2 riders there. Race 12 up next. 2 classes yet again. A lone rider in our 600, 650 stock LT class. The 2025 of Adam Levy out of Stamford, Vermont, sponsored by Green Mountain Racing, FXR, and Woody's. In the 600, 650 stock LT class, we have the 12 of Brennan Camo, the 30 of Lucas Vadi, the 64 of Wyatt Packin, and the 242 of Clayton Green. See the 30 of Vadi there on the far outside. The 12 of Camo on the inside there, the full black Skidoo. Camo with a nice start there, side-by-side battle though, with I believe that might be the 242 of Clayton Green, if I'm seeing things correctly there. Adam Levy going to take the W. Then it's Green, Camo, Vadi, 2, 3, 4. That was race number 12. Up next, race number 13. We're flying through these 850 stock ST. 3 of our competitors making the call. The 1 of William Schmidt, 3 of Sean Canali, 157 of Brendan Mellinson, and the 873 of Sean Sullivan. That red sled to the inside, able to have a nice jump there. Some drone footage here. We're going to try to see our competitors as that red sled is pulling away from the rest of the competitors. That's the 1 of William Schmidt setting a blistering pace. A full 3-second advantage over the 3 of Sean Canali, who's going to take second. And it's the 157 of Brendan Mellinson rounding out your top 3. Race 14 up next, 850 to 900 open LT class. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, the 64 of Brian Burkle, the 102 of Wyatt Keegan, and the 264 of John Burgoyne. Engines revving. Lights are out. And it's the Polaris with the early advantage there, hot off the line, leading this charge of our 3-sled race, absolutely pulling away. Brian Whaley taking the easy win there with a 3.173 advantage over the 264 of Burgoyne, finishing second, barely ahead of the 102 of Keegan, just 0.01 seconds separating the 264 and 102. Very close call there. Advantage to Burgoyne taking second, but congrats to the 02 of Brian Whaley. Race 15 up next, plus 30 open. We have the 3 of Sean Canale out of Laconia, New Hampshire. The 44 of Eric Bordeaux from Alton, New Hampshire, sponsored by Articat, Shock Tech, Trailside Power Sports. The 52 of Travis Wickman. The 253 of Kyle Sackett, sponsored by HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets. 3 of Canale taking that inside line with the nice jump, and it looks like it may have actually been a false start there. Thought the 3 of Canale had a solid start. Started a little bit too early, though. 44 of Bordeaux on the outside, 3 of Canale on the inside. Canale not quite the start that he had during that misstart there at the beginning. And it's going to be the 52 of Travis Wickham able to take the win. Canale finishing second after that rough start he had there. And the 44 of Bordeaux rounding out your podium for race number 15. Race 16 up next. And just like that, we're officially halfway through our first set of heats for the morning. Plus 30 open. Division 2. We had Division 1 out there right beforehand. Here's the second half. 157 of Brendan Mellinson out of Laconia, New Hampshire. 192 of Eric White, also from Laconia. 221 of Jared McClure, sponsored by Amsoil Studboy, Climb, CNA, Pro Skis, Action Off-Road. And the 873 of Sean Sullivan, also from Laconia, New Hampshire. 4 racers in division number 2 of plus 30 open. Laconia producing some riders here for this class. 3/4 of our racers out of Laconia. I believe that's the 873 of Sean Sullivan we're looking at right now. Sullivan rocking the Team Arctic gear on his Articat out of Laconia, New Hampshire. .873 of Sullivan, the lone rider at the line as of right now. Looks like we do have another rider coming up as well. Going to give Sullivan a little competition there. Here he comes. It's the 221 of McClure. McClure taking that outside line. Sullivan with the inside. Engines revving. McClure looking to have some slight issues there, but gets the good hop there. McClure with the nice jump on that outside line. Some nice battles going on there. Little 2-rider battle, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the 221 of LeClure taking the W in Division 2 of plus 30 open. Sullivan going to settle for second. Race 17 up next. 850, 900 open LT. 4 racers supposed to be making the call for this race. The 18 of Brian Hesseltine, racing for HK Power Sports out of San Bornton, New Hampshire. The 64 of Brian Burkle from Verona, New York, racing for East Up Automotive, Bibbins Sales and Service. John Burgoyne racing the 264 out of Laconia for Ideal Block Co., HK Power Sports, Frigid Racing, Frigid something Racing, can't quite say that other word online. And then we have the RACI of Tyler Duncan, racing for Profile Power Sports, Backwoods BMP out of Brownfield, Maine. 4 riders in race number 17. Once again, this is the 8/5900 Open LT class. There's the 11. Might possibly be the RACI. We see the 264 of Burgoyne there on the inside. Burgoyne holding on to second, setting his sights on our leader. That all-black number 11 machine might be the RACI, and transponders do confirm. So it's going to be Tyler Duncan taking the win in the 8/5900 Open class on that RACI number 11 machine. 264 Burgoyne finishing second. Hesseltine rounding out your top 3. Race 18 up next, plus 3,600 stock. We have the 33 of Junior Sierra, the 44 of Eric Bordeaux, the 77 of Ryan McTaggart, and the 902 of Dana Christofferson. Bordeaux on the inside there. 33 of Sierra making the call. 90 looks like it goes the 44 of Bordeaux on the inside. Christofferson having a rough start there. Sierra on the 33 looking to have a solid jump out of the gate there. Nice drone footage. Sierra going to set a blistering pace, taking the W here for the plus 3,600 stock class. Christofferson, even after that rough start, going to finish second. Bordeaux rounding out your top 3 with the 77 of McTaggart, taking the 4th place spot on the field. That was division number 1 of plus 3,600 stock. Up next, we have division number 2. The 157 of Brendan Mellinson, the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 314 of Nate Wilkinson, and the 712 of Devin Dacre. There's the 253 of Sackett lining up on that yellow and black sled. 712 of Dacre on the outside. Rider's going to readjust. Engines revving. And it looks like Sackett with the early jump there. Nice pull out of the gate. Sackett with a great start there on the 253. Taking the W today for HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets. It's going to be the 712 of Diker finishing second. And the 157 of Mellinson rounding out your top 3. Race 20 up next, Ditchbanger 2004 to 2009. The 1 of Charles Gulbicki, the 49 of Sean Sullivan, the 55 of Robert Knight, 117 of Mark Restaino, the 824 of James Allard, and the 2004 of Adam Levy. Levy racing for Green Mountain Racing, FXR, and Woody's Traction. Engines revving. Lights are out and away we go. Nice solid battle, side-by-side action up this first portion of the hill. Might have a 3-rider battle for second, third, and fourth going on if I'm seeing that correctly. But it's our leader out front all alone with great advantage there. Adam Levy on the 2004 machine gonna take the win by over 2 seconds. Then we got Allard finishing second on the 824 just by a hair. 0.3 seconds separating Allard in second, and Gulbicki on the number 1 in third. Golbicki going to round out your podium there. Race 21 up next, 850 to 900 stock LT, Division 1 of 2. We have the 4 of Robert Drew, the HX of Nicholas Georgantis, the 24 of Zachary Warner, the 64 of Wyatt Packin, the 102 of Wyatt Keegan, and the 264 of John Burgoyne. One of our riders going to spin around super quick. Looks like he didn't have any gloves on. One thing that we are very adamant on here at X Racing and Sunday Fun Day is safety. You know, it may be a warm day out there. Some of our riders may be facing with the heat, trying to cool down a little bit, but we are still going to put safety as a top priority here. So we got some gloves on our rider there, making sure he is all good up at the line. I believe that might be the 64 of Packin. The 264 of Burgoyne on the inside. 75 making the show on this one. I don't happen to have a name for that rider right in front of me. But the 75 machine with the nice teal coloring there, setting themselves apart from the blacked out riders on their left and right. Nice quick zoom in on Burgoyne there. Burgoyne today racing for Ideal Block Co., HK Power Sports, and Frigid something Racing. I'll let you fill in the blank there. Looks like we might be waiting on another rider for this class. There we go. Pulling into the inside. 4 riders making the call. The metallic decaled rider taking that inside line to the left of the 264 of John Burgoyne. Engines are revving. Should be back to green flag action here in just a second. Riders are ready to go. Lights are out. And it's Packin on the right side with that early jump. But the metallic turquoise sled on the inside, able to get a solid shoot as well. Packin able to battle back, though. Packin gonna take the W today. The 102 of Keegan on that metallic number 102. Gonna finish second. And the 264 of Burgoyne gonna round out your top 3. That was Division 1. Division 2 up next for our 850 900 stock LT class. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, the 2 of Josh Began, 20 of Jacob Doyen, 26 of Austin Pace, and the 64X of Brian Burkle. 4 riders making the early call, making sure everyone is lined up correctly. Second to the outside, we see the 20 of Jacob Doyen. Doyen sponsored by Doyen's Appliance, Capstone Landscaping, and we're green flag racing. Side-by-side battle for the lead, side-by-side battle for 3rd and 4th. It's a who's who, but it's going to be the 02 of Brian Whaley taking the W for HK Power Sports today. Doyen on the 20, going to finish second. The 26 of Austin Pace going to round out your top 3, with Began coming in just behind in 4th. Race 23 of 31 up next. 1 lone rider in our 850 900 open stock paid class. The 253 of Kyle Sackett from Laconia, New Hampshire. And in the 850 900 open stock or open ST trophy class, looks like we might be combining a couple of our classes here, because I also see 850 900 stock LT making a lineup as well. 816 of Sean Manzi, the 616 of Eric Kane, the 77 of Ryan McTaggart, the 4 of Robert Drew, and the 0 of Donald Levitt making the call for the 850 to 900 stock LT class. In the 850 to 900 Open ST class, we have the 253 of Kyle Sackett. Engines revving. Sleds are ready to go. 4-rider battle there for the lead. Turns into a 3-rider battle. It's a 3-rider shootout. Our middle rider with the slight advantage going to take the win here from the inside. Nice battles there. Now it looks like we see the 253 of Kyle Sackett lining up for the 850 to 900 Open ST class. Sackett, the lone lineup right now. Running through these races pretty quickly, giving our racers a chance to take a slight breather here. Sackett standing on his HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets sponsored Skidoo out of Laconia, New Hampshire. We have another rider coming up. Looks like it is the 918. Going past, not actually going through the start gate. So it's just going to be Sackett. Sackett with a nice start off the line up to that first plateau, making his way up through that second portion of the hill, up and over. And it's going to be Sackett with a hard-fought battle taking the win. Race 25 up next, Division 2 of our 850-900 stock LT class. We have the 2 of Josh Began, the 11 of Colin Sheehan, the 20 of Jacob Doyen, and the 64 of Brian Burkle making the call. 4 sleds out there. 3 sleds of 4 at the line. Looks like one of our riders had their chin strap not fully tightened. Get him adjusted. We are all back and ready to go. Side by side by side at the lineup. The lights are on, and it's a drag race to the top of the hill. 3 wide side by side action. It's anyone's game going up through this second level, up to the third, down to the line. And it's the 2 of Began who's going to take the win on the Suzuki. The 11 of Sheehan finishing second, and the 20 of Doyen rounding out your 3-rider battle. Just a mere 0.7 seconds separating our first and third place rider. It was an anyone's game there, but for once the Suzuki taking the W in that heat race. 850-900 stock ST. Division 1, we have the 1 of William Schmidt, the 3 of Sean Keneally, the 11 of Devin Dacre, the RMK of Andrew Perusta, and the 253 of Kyle Sackett. 4-rider battle up at the start. 1 rider absolutely pulling away, and it's William Schmidt on the 1 taking the easy W here today. The 11 of Devin Diker going to finish second. The 3 of Keneally rounding out your podium with Perusta on the RMK, going to finish fourth. Up next, race 27, the 9 of Thomas Sylvester, the 44 of Eric Bordeaux, the 81X of Wesley Ganshaw, the 118 of Jake Barrows, and the 157 of Brendan Mellinson. Supposed to be making this call today on the lineup. Looks like 3 of our 5 are actually there. Ganshaw on the inside, the 16 machine in the middle, and the 9 of Sylvester on the outside. Engines revving. Sleds are ready. Ganshaw and our middle racers side by side up through this first portion. Ganshaw with the slight advantage. Half a sled length ahead, and Ganshaw is going to take the win today for JRC Transportation. It's the 16 of Gillian who's going to finish second, and the 9 of Sylvester is going to round out your top 3. That was race 27. Race 28 up next. 600 stock ST Division 2. We just saw Division 1 come out. Now we're moving on to the second half. The 1 of Charles Gulbicki, the HX of Nicholas Giorgantis, the 171 of David Baird, 194 of Spencer De La Brewer, sponsored by Carbide Podcast, Woody's Traction, X Racing, Ridge, Dennis Kirk, Hot Stuff Kitchen, Fly Racing, Southside Polaris, and the 451 of Dylan Adams, racing for B&C Racing, Matt's Cats, Spark Knock Power Sports out of Newport, New Hampshire. Now, one rider to keep your eye on in this race is going to be the 194 of Spencer De La Brewer. The reason to keep your eye on this racer right here, folks, we are, as a reminder, over on the East Coast. We are in Plymouth, New Hampshire, here at Tenney Mountain for the Mountain Sled Fest this weekend. So most of our riders are coming out of this area. You know, a lot of New Hampshire riders, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont. But the 194 of De La Brewer, going to be one to keep an eye on as he has made the trek along with us all the way from Ham Lake, Minnesota. Yes, you heard that right, folks. All the way from Minnesota to race here today in Sunday Fun Day. Giving our riders a second to get all lined up here at the starting gate. And it looks like we're going to do some quick track prep. So while we do this, we will take a minute here to go to a quick commercial break here while we let our track prep do a little work. We will be back momentarily.
Freight is the backbone of the country, and as long as people need goods, they're going to need somebody to get it to them. My name is Matt Bohl with QualityFreightRate.com, powered by T-Force Worldwide. We provide LTL, truckload, and expedited freight services across this country. If your freight weighs over 120 pounds going over 120 miles, that's where my shipping rates kick in. We help companies ship easier for less. With our system, our customers are able to quote and book shipments with ease 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having trouble with damages, lost freight, claims of any sort, we can help you with our experience, solve the problem, tell you why it's happening and what you should do to prevent it in the future. Me and my team have been together for over 20 years. We know this industry. We can help all size business, big or small. We love them all, but we have a special spot for small business. Small businesses are pillars in the community. Low rates are critical for a small business because the margins are generally pretty small. They need to have competitive rates. They can't be getting gouged or they lose the sale. Freight is simple. People make it difficult. We work as consultants in the industry, so it doesn't matter what your problem is, we'll solve it. We educate the customers, we solve problems, and we lower their shipping rates. And that's what I've been doing for 20 plus years.
And now we're back from that quick commercial break, doing a little quick track prep here before we get on to our final 4 races of our first set of heats for the morning. 31 races in all per section today. We've been through 27 of them. We have 4 left. Up next, we're going to have Division 2 of our 600 stock ST class. Race 29 is going to see Division 1 of 2 for our 600 650 Open ST class, followed by Race 30, which will be Division 2 of that same class. And we will round out our 31 race heat number 1 with our 600 to 650 Open ST class. 5 riders in our next 3 races, 4 to finish things off. Well, we have a quick moment here. Want to take another quick time to thank some of the sponsors we have on for this weekend. Some of our main event sponsors that we have, premier sponsors. Obviously, Tenney Mountain, we're thankful to them to bring us out here for a great weekend of snowmobile racing. We'd also like to thank the National Guard helping us out here today with premier level sponsorship to bring Sunday Funday activities over onto the east end of the United States. Along with them, also HK Power Sports, Skidoo, and Can-Am, 2 locations here in the New Hampshire area. Make sure to support them, along with Southside Sales Polaris and Pranoth Groomers. All 3 of those companies helping us make the long haul from good old Minnesota out to sunny New Hampshire for a weekend of Mountain Sled Fest racing at Tenney Mountain here in Plymouth, New Hampshire. We got to send a big thank you to them. Sleds are on their way to staging right now to start off this next race, race 28. Looks like we're sending 2 racers up here just to check things out, not an official race. We have the 157 machine, and I think that might be the 44, if I'm seeing things correctly. 157 of Melanson on that outside line. The 44 machine with the nice jump to the inside there. And in this nice little double check for fun race, the 44 is going to take the win there. And now we're back to our regularly scheduled program. Division 2 of 600 stock ST. 451 of Adams, 194 of De La Brewer, 171 of Baird, HX of Jared Gontis, and the 1 of Gulbicki. Adams sitting in the second to the inside line. Looks like we have a additional sled here. That was not on the lineup making their way in. Not sure if that might be the 118 of Barrows far on the outside. Six racers for race 28, Division 2 of our 600 stock ST class. Quick confirmation, that is the 118 of Jake Barrows. taking that outside line. Barrow's chatting with our flaggers on the side there. Had been scheduled to be in the first division of this class. Trying to get things figured out there. Getting Barrows relined up in the correct starting spot. 194 of De La Brewer from Minnesota, sitting there third from the outside. And that may have been De La Brewer with the nice jump there. The Minnesota native taking the W. Like I said, he'd be a fun one to watch, ladies and gentlemen. And he is doing so in spades. De La Brewer taking the W on the 194. Making Minnesota proud. The one of Gulbicki is going to finish second. With the 171 of Baird rounding out your top three. Adams and Giorgantis going to follow behind in fourth and fifth. Race 29, 600, 650, Open ST, 33 of Junior Sierra, 58 of Luke Kearney, 177 of Sam Heckman, the 253 of Kyle Sackett, and the 716 of Nicholas Keating. Lining up for this race, we see the 253 on the outside of Sackett. Sackett sponsored by HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets. Next to him on the inside, the 33, I believe that is, of Sierra, 716 of Keating in the middle, the 58 of Kearney on the far inside, which must make Heckman, that rider, second to the inside. Riders are ready. At the line, lights are out, and it's the 58 of Kearney with the nice hop on the inside. Kearney, your early race leader, up that first and second portion of the track, taking the overall win. Kearney with the W for Kearney Pallets. The 253 of Sackett, also with a nice hop, going to take second, and it's Nicholas Keating on the 716, rounding out your top three. Heckman and Sierra going to follow just behind. That was Division 1. Division 2 of 600 to 650 Open ST. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, the 12 of Brennan Camo, 30 of Lucas Vaddy, the 122 of Benjamin Adams, and the 221 of Jared McClure making the lineup. 221 of McClure on that nice white sled there on the inside. Matching with the snow we have here at good old Tenney Mountain. Lineups are good to go. And it's our inside racer with the good hop. Taking that nice inside line, Brian Whaley. Gonna be taking the W here today in Division number 2. The 221 of McClure finishing second for Amsoil Studboy, Climb, CNA, Action Off-Road. And Benjamin Adams on the 122, rounding out your top three. Up next, final race of our first section of heats. Hitting the track now. 4 riders. The 157 of Brendan Mellinson from Laconia, New Hampshire. The 194 of Spencer De La Brewer. The Ham Lake, Minnesota native, sponsored by Carbide Podcast, Woody's, Traction, X-Racing, Ridge, Dennis Kirk, Hot Stuff Kitchen, Fly Racing, and Southside Polaris. 716 of Nicholas Keating from North Adams, Massachusetts, sponsored by GMR, Arctic Cat, FXR, Speedworks, Woody's, CNA Pro Skis, Grip and Rip, and Rocks. and the 918 of Hunter Riley out of Bristol, Maine. 4 riders making their way up for the final heat race of this first section of heats. Keating on the inside, Melanson next to him. Then Riley and De La Brewer going inside to outside at the lineup. Starting line seems ready to go. Flagger sets the riders. Engines rev. Lights are on, and De La Brewer with another nice hop on the outside there. Hoping to make it 2 for 2 in this Hillcross portion today. Side by side at the front of the field, De La Brewer back to second, and it's Keating on the 716 who's able to take over that lead from De La Brewer gonna finish second. Riley rounding out your podium, and Melanson gonna finish fourth. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our first section of heats for the morning for some Hillcross racing. We're going to take a quick intermission here. I'm guessing about 15-20 minutes before we get back to heat race number 2 for the day, where we will be back for some more Hillcross racing action. So join us back in a few minutes, stretch your legs, run to the restroom, tell your friends and family about the streaming service here. You know, make sure they are a part of the action out here at good old Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire for the Mountain Sled Fest. And now for a word from our sponsors.
When you've got to ship it from anywhere to anywhere,
QualityFreightRate.com.
the LTL Freight Logistics Specialist for your small business.
QualityFreightRate.com.
We simplify shipping, eliminate those surprise charges, and negotiate the best rates from most LTL qualified carriers.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Special residential and liftgate rates available for automotive and ag implements.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Use the promo code ICE and get 10% off your first shipment. Startup is so easy. Get a quote and ship today. QualityFreightRate.com.
Okay. I'll put the backpack on when I see him start to get ready.
And welcome back to Sunday Funday Racing here through X Racing at Tenney Mountain. We're all the way out in Plymouth, New Hampshire here for their Mountain Sled Fest weekend, bringing you some snowmobile racing action Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this packed X Racing Sunday Funday weekend. We were here last night doing some snowcross racing. We had 2 sections of heats and a final last night for that. This morning, we've been out racing doing some hillcross competitions. We started here at about 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Just got done with our first round of heats, about to move into our second round of heats here any moment now. Before we get to our finals later on here in just about an hour or two. But in the meantime, we're focusing on heats number 2. After this, we will be taking a short little break in between hillcross racing before we get to our evening activities, where we're doing some snowcross and Sunday Funday racing events. For the snowcross side, we'll be seeing similar to what we saw last night on the larger track with the full rhythm section over on the back end straightaway. We'll be doing 2 heats and a feature for that side. Then we'll also be bringing the Sunday Funday racing activities that you know and love from ERX Motor Park in Elk River, Minnesota, all the way out here to good old Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire, where we'll be doing a smaller inside track from the snowcross track that we saw last night. You know, a little bit more of a weekend warrior type of racing, if you will, a little bit smoother surface, more for the sleds that are just kind of bringing their stuff out to the track, maybe not for the first time, but aren't quite as on the aggressive side as the snowcross racing. That is tonight's events. And then we'll be coming back again tomorrow for our final day of racing here with our normal Sunday Funday racing program. So we'll be going live tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, Eastern as we are in Plymouth, New Hampshire right now. Tomorrow we'll be doing 1 run of heats for the Sunday Funday racing, followed by 2 separate main events for Sunday Fundays to get 2 full programs in for our Sunday Funday racers. We've been at it all morning here, gone through practice, heats. We're about to hit up our second set of heats now. We have a packed schedule for you guys this morning. 31 different races that we've been going through this morning. A few mixed classes, a few split up divisions of our classes. Very big events here for you guys this morning. You can see from this nice, beautiful drone shot, a look at Tenney Mountain, you know, the beautiful surfaces that we've been having here today. You know, even though the weather is amazing right now, the sun is shining, it's getting nice and warm. I believe right now it's 50 degrees out. We got a high of 52 today, but as you can see in this beautiful drone shot, we have some great snow out here. The people at Tenney Mountain were able to bring some snow over from all of their trails to allow us to get some racing action in here for a full weekend of activities. Take a look at that gorgeous mountain right there. That is absolutely amazing. We love getting to come out to these facilities, and we're so appreciative of Tenney Mountain for having us out this weekend. They are one of our title sponsors here this weekend. You know, not only are they letting us come out here, but they've been helping us out all weekend as well. So we love getting to work with Tenney Mountain. They're going through a bit of a revival over the past couple years. Did a little refresh in 2022-2023's ski season. And so we are happy to be a part of their big kaboom coming back here. Along with that, while we're talking about sponsors, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about a few of our other main event sponsors we have on the premier sponsor side. Thanks Tenney Mountain. Again, want to give them a huge shout out again. But we're also very thankful to the National Guard, one of our other main sponsors this weekend, for helping bring us out here. And we also had a few local premier sponsors as well, local to the area we are racing in, maybe not to the area you are used to seeing X Racing and Sunday Funday and MBTV Sports at, but out here in New Hampshire, in the New Hampshire area. HK Power Sports Skidoo and Can-Am has been helping us out greatly, along with Southside Sales Polaris. So for those of you in the New Hampshire, Plymouth area, make sure to go out and support those businesses, because if we want to make sure we give them our thanks for helping us come out here so that we can put on some beautiful racing for you guys. And along with that, Pranoth Groomers as well has been along. You can see on that drone footage off to the right hand side there, we have that nice big track groomer over there. Pranoth has been amazing with us this weekend, helping us get these tracks all ready to go for our racers, for our viewers, for the crew here at Tenney Mountain. They have been absolutely astounding. So a huge shout out to Pranoth Groomers as well. A few other sponsors we have. We do have the classic sponsors for Sunday Funday, the Sunday Funday series, X Racing along for the ride as well. We have Fox, Woody's Traction, Studboy Traction, USI Skis, Carbide Podcast, and Durable Trailers, all to thank for helping get us out here halfway across the country, coming from good old Midwestern Minnesota. We even see one of our Minnesota guys right there, the 194 of Spencer De La Brewer, the lone Minnesota native making their way out here with us this week for the Sunday Funday activities over on the East Coast. De La Brewer racing a couple different races here this weekend. Did decently last night during the Snocross, has had a pretty solid morning this morning, took away a heat race win and finished second in another heat race. Solid showing for the Minnesota gang. We're slowly but surely getting ready for things to get started here for our second round of heats this morning. Like I was saying earlier, or if you have been tuning into the live stream since earlier on today, we have a stacked 31 race lineup for you guys. We ran through it once. We're going to run through it again for you guys. And now this is going to be the heats to watch for sure, because the last heat, obviously the heats were still making sense going through it, but more of a intro session for our riders, giving them a chance to get a look at the track. Here's where things really start to get complicated though for our riders. So for this next round of heats, this is what is going to decide the starting lineup for our main events that we'll be seeing on later this morning. So however our racers finish in this second round of heats is going to be how they are able to line up for the main events later on. And now this is going to be very important for some of our riders. We've seen, obviously riders all have their own takes, their own preferences, but we have been seeing some riders have been doing a lot better on the outside today. Some have been doing a lot better on the inside, even though it is a straight shot. As we keep going up and down this hill right here, we will have different track conditions going on. So being able to get the spot that you would prefer to start your race is going to be absolutely killer for our riders. So this is the race that matters for them on that aspect. Before we get into the main points and money paying sessions during our main events. Absolutely beautiful view right there of the Tenney Mountain facilities out here in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And boy, do I got to give it up to our drone operator. This is the work of Dan Wall from Immersive Aerial Media out there, getting some beautiful footage of the Mountain Sled Fest Tenney Mountain area this weekend for us. You might have seen his work in FMX, Octane, car dealerships, or you might recognize him more from movies like Beetlejuice, shows like The Last of Us and The Walking Dead, Red Bull, Highway Works. Immersive Aerial Media coming out with us this weekend to help us with some beautiful drone shots. Based out of Boston, so pretty close to these East Coasters over here in New Hampshire. We're happy to have him as a part of the MBTV Sports team. MBTV Sports, we've been live streaming the Sunday Funday events all winter long here with X Racing. out of Minnesota. Always happy to bring the live streaming capabilities out for our viewers. Right now, not only are we happy to bring it to New Hampshire for the friends and families of the racers here, to be able to spread that live stream around, make it feel like they are a part of the action, like racing snowmobiles in 50-degree weather. We've got some beautiful snow out here this weekend, and we are more than happy to be broadcasting live all weekend long. As a reminder, we are going to be out here quite some time this weekend. We're not even to the halfway portion yet of our weekend. We started last night doing some snowcross racing, had 2 sets of heats and a final. Started at 6:30 p.m. Eastern last night. Had a nice little night going there. Now we're here for the first half of our action this morning. Just got done with our first round of heats for Hillcross Racing. Heading into heat number 2 before we get to our main events later on. Then we'll have a nice little break there in between on the action for all of you and for all of our racers here before we get back to that Snowcross and Sunday Fun Day racing activities tonight. Back on the Snowcross and Sunday Fun Day tracks here at Tenney Mountain. And then we'll round things out tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 10:30 a.m. Central for those of you back in the Midwest. We'll be getting back to the classic Sunday Fun Day activities that you've learned to know and love through ERX Motor Park in Elk River, Minnesota. Bringing them over here to the Mountain Sled Fest weekend at Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire. Tomorrow we'll be doing 1 set of heats for our Sunday Fun Day activities, as well as 2 full rounds of main events to get a couple shows in for our riders. We're excited to see the turnout that we have for that weekend, or for those races. Hillcross has already been absolutely astounding over here, 31 races. We'll take a quick look at what our race order is looking like. Race number 1 of 31, Women's 600 Stock ST and Junior 14 to 17. Race 2, we have Mountain Sled LT. Race number 3, 600 to 650 Open LT and Mountain Sled LT. 600 Stock ST for race number 4, and the second division for race number 5, and the third division for race number 6. Race number 7, we have Junior 19 to 13. Race 8, Trail Sled Open ST. Race 9, plus 40 600 Stock and plus 40 Open. Race 10, Ditchbanger 1990 to 2003. Heat 1 and 2. Race 12 will end up being 600 650 Stock LT. Race 13, 850 Stock ST. 14 will be 850 to 900 Open LT. Plus 30 Open for race 15 and 16. Race 17 will be 850 to 900 Open LT. Race 18 plus 30 to 600 Stock. We have 2 heats of that. Race 20 will be Ditchbanger 2004 to 2009. 21 has 850 Stock, 900 Stock LT. 22 is going to be the second heat race of that same class. Race 23, 850 to 900 Open ST. Race 24, 850 to 900 Stock LT. 25 has heat number 2 of the same class. 26 is 8 for second set of heats of the morning. Making sure our riders are all good to go, set and ready at the lineup. Champagne on the inside there. Camo and Meekin on the outside from Gorham, New Hampshire. 64 of Brian Burkle piloting the East Up Automotive from Gorham, New Hampshire. 64 of Brian Burkle piloting the East Up Automotive Bibbins Sales and Service. Skidoo out of Bibbins Sales and Service. Skidoo out of Verona, New York. Verona, New York. And the 242 of Clayton Green out of Warren, New Hampshire. Bell was our heat race winner. We'll be keeping an eye on him this time around. Looks like 3 of our riders making the call. I see the 11 of Bell there closest to us in that nice teal outfit, and he's looking to do just what he did during the first heat there. Bell with a great start there on the inside, taking that nice low line. Bell gonna take the win here for us. Up and over that start-finish line jump, taking the checkered. Clayton Green on the 242, gonna finish second. And it's Levitt on the 0, rounding out our top 3. Race number 3 up next, 2 classes in the 600 to 650 Open LT class. We had heat race winner, the 30 of Lucas Vadi, sponsored by Why We Ride Podcast, Polaris Studboy, and USI Skis. In the Mountain Sled LT class, heat race winner, the RACI of Tyler Duncan, sponsored by Profile Power Sports and Backwoods BMP, along with the 20 of Jacob Doyen, sponsored by Doyen's Appliances, Capstone Landscaping, OGIO, Slick Products, and Liat. 3 riders making the call today. Looks like we might have a 4th pulling up here as well. Four sleds at the line. May have been the 12 of Camo. Engines revving. Lights are out and away we go. Tyler Duncan, I believe, with the early rocket start, but we've got some action right behind them. Side by side, up to the line, up and over the start-finish line. Winner's going to be the 30 of Lucas Vadi. Second comes Camo on the 12. And the winner in the mountain sled class is going to be the RACI of Tyler Duncan, taking the W today. Doyen going to finish second. That was race number 3. Race 4 up next. 600 stock ST. First heat, we have the 45 of Sam Heckman, the 85 of Robert Knight, 118 of Jake Barrows, 253 of Sackett, 451 of Adams, 2025 of Levy. Engines revving. Starter checks the grid. Lights are out and away we go. One rider absolutely pulling away from that 3-rider battle for second, third, and fourth, setting the pace. Absolutely flying. Sackett putting a clinic on these other riders, taking the easy win. 2 seconds ahead of the second place rider, the 45 of Heckman. Barrows gonna round out your top 3. Sackett looking to take the full sweep. Has won both heats in that class. Race number 5 up next. Heat race winner was the 307 of Jake Lux, 81X of Wesley Ganshaw, 902 of Dana Christofferson, 64 of Wyatt Packin, 218 of Kevin Gottfried, and the 44 of Eric Bordeaux. 6 riders making the lineup for heat number 2 of our 600 stock ST class, race number 5 of the section. Looks like we might have an additional rider this time around. I'm counting 7 sleds. We had 6 on the lineup sheet. We're going to want to keep an eye on that 307 machine, our heat race winner from earlier on today, as we've got a jumper. One person a little too eager to get that green light, jumps the light. We're going to push him back, make sure he is back in line. '81X of Wesley Ganshaw, that second sled to the inside on the right hand of your screen. Just restarted his sled. He's another one to keep an eye on. He's had a pretty solid weekend. Finished second in the heat race. Looking to try to make a battle back this time by for JRC Transportation. Gate checks the lineup. Make sure everyone is all set and ready to go. Before we get back to some green flag action here in just a second. One of our riders seems to be possibly having some slight issues with his sled. They're taking a quick look over it. Gets restarted. It was the 12 machine, who was not initially on my lineup. Looks like that was Brennan Camo. May have possibly lined up for the wrong race. Now we're good to go. Engines revving. Sleds jumping at the bit. Lights are out. And away we go. It's Ganshaw and Lux side by side, but we've got a third racer as well trying to get in the mix. 3 wide, 2 battle up at the top. Lux gonna take the race win by just a hair, less than half a second. Ganshaw gonna finish second. Christofferson rounding out your top 3 in heat race number 2 of our 600 stock ST class. Heat 3 coming up next. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, your heat race winner. 58 of Luke Kearney out of Bridgewater, Maine, sponsored by Kearney Pallets. The 221 of Benjamin Adams from Blue Hill, Maine. The 30 of Lucas Vadi, piloting the Why We Ride podcast, Polaris Studboy and USI Skis Polaris out of Mansville, New York. 712 of Devin Dacre out of Old Forge, New York. And the 12 of Brennan Camo. .30 of Vadi on the inside. 58 of Kearney next to him. The 221 of Benjamin Adams on that all-white Arctic Cat. Then taking that way outside line, we see the 712 of Devin Dacre. Dacre a few sled lengths outside. Riders chatting with each other a little bit as we make sure everyone's good to go before we get back to green flag action for Heat Race Division 3 of our 600 stock ST class. Vadi and Kearney having a quick conversation there on the inside. And there we go. There's the 12 of Camo. He'd lined up in heat number 2 on accident. Now we've got him all ready to go. Taking that second to the outside line. Right next to the 02 of Whaley, I believe that is. Whaley and Camo chatting super quick. Having some quick words before we get back to action here. Looks like there was a slight mix-up with some of our lineups here. So our flagman's checking everything, making sure we are all set to go, that we have the correct lineups, correct transponders going before we get back to action here. Camo pulling off once again. Sleds are started up. Looks like our lineup is good to go now. Now we're ready to be back to some green flag action here. Sleds at the line. 4 to the inside, 1 on the far outside. Dropping the green, and away we go. Whaley with a nice start on the inside, but it's the 58 of Kearney with that slight advantage on the outside. Side by side up to the start-finish line. The checkered flag is out for your race winner, the O2 of Brian Whaley, with a .06 lead over the 58 of Kearney, finishing second. Adams, 2.5 seconds behind on the 221, rounding out your podium for race number 6. This is going to bring us to race number 7, a little bit smaller class here, our junior 9 to 13 class. 2 competitors today, the 10 of Chase Meekin, sponsored by HK Power Sports out of Meredith, New Hampshire, along with the 12 of Brennan Comeau from Neshaw, New Hampshire. We can see Comeau's sled there over on the right. We're getting pretty used to seeing that bright yellow number 12 machine there. Going to make sure everyone is lined up and ready to go. Again, another beautiful drone shot there of the amazing facilities here at Tenney Mountain. Once again, all of us here at X Racing Sunday Fun Day and MBTV Sports are happy to be invited out here to beautiful, beautiful Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire for their Mountain Sled Fest weekend. We're going to do 2 weekends initially, this weekend and next weekend as well, with some of the weather options that we've been having out here. Decided to condense it all into one power sports heavy, extra, absolute packed weekend. Snocross racing last night, Hillcross racing this morning, Snocross and Sunday Fun Day racing tonight as well, and some Sunday Fun Day racing tomorrow morning as well. Riders are now lining up at the starting line. 12 of Comeau. And we see the 10 of Meekin just to his side on that yellow Skidoo. Meekin on the outside, Comeau on the inside. It's going to be a rider v. rider battle head-to-head for the junior 9 to 13 heat number 2. Lined up, eyes on the light. Green flag is out. It's side by side up this first section. Meekin with the slight advantage, pulling away from the 12 of Comeau. Meekin up through that second and third section as well. Side by side. Close battle to the end, but it's going to be the 10 of Chase Meekin taking the win. Comeau going to finish second for race number 7. Race 8 up next, Trail Sled Open ST class. We have heat race winner, the 1 of William Schmidt out of Holland Patton, New York. The 72 of Carl Riley from Bristol, Maine. The 4 of Robert Drew out of Windham, New Hampshire. The 55 of Robert Knight out of Newport, New Hampshire. And the 99 of Brad Hartwick from Concord, New Hampshire. 4 of our 5 sleds making the lineup there. A rider on the outside jumping at the bit, ready to get back to some racing action. We are racing. The 99 of Hartwick digging deep into that snow there. We've got nice warm temperatures like I've been saying, but that's making things a little bit hard on these sleds. Up through that hill, absolutely pulling away from the rest of the field. It's the number 1 of Schmidt taking the easy win, almost 3 seconds ahead of the 55 of Knight, who's going to finish second. Riley on the 72 rounding out your podium with Hartwick, a devastating 4th place after that digging in on the snow. Race number 9 up next. We have 2 different classes. In the plus 40 600 stock class, we have heat race winner, the 121 of Benjamin Urso, sponsored by Land & Sea Power Sports, Goodwin Performance, along with the F7 of Jay Page out of Center Barnstead, New Hampshire. In the plus 40 open class, we have heat race winner, the 11 of Ken Bell, the HX of Tever Tatro out of Stamford, Vermont, and the 111 of Lonnie Hellman racing the Polaris out of Pepperell, Massachusetts. 5 riders making their way up the steep slopes of Tenney Mountain for race number 9. Five-rider battle at the lead turns down to a 3-rider battle, now to a 2-rider battle for the first place position, side by side up over the checkered flag. Who's it gonna be? Urso taking the win in the 600 stock class. Just like we saw in the heat race, Ken Bell gonna take that big old W in the open class. Tatro and Hellman rounding out the open class. Page going to finish second in the 600 stock class. Race 10 up next. Again, we've narrowed down our classes from heats 1 to heat 2. We're down to 27 classes for this second half. Race number 10, though. Ditchbanger 1990 to 2003. Heat 1 of 2. In this first half, we have the 027 of Nicholas Ross. The 873 of heat race winner Sean Sullivan out of Laconia. The 218 of Kevin Godfrey. And the 918 of Hunter Riley. All making the call. Riley taking that way, way outside line. Down to the inside, we have the 027 of Ross. The 873 of Sullivan. And Godfrey. Splitting the difference there in the middle. 873 of Sullivan and Godfrey side by side at the lead, bringing the pack up that monstrous Tenney Mountain hill. But it's going to be Sullivan pulling away from the rest of the field. Sullivan going to take the win here today. Godfrey close behind, finishing second. Riley on the 918 going to round out your podium. That was the first division of our Ditchbanger 90 to 2003 class. Now on to our second division here. Heat race winner was the 192 of Eric White out of Laconia, New Hampshire. We'll also have the 451 of Dylan Adams, sponsored by BNC Racing, Matt's Cats, Spark Knock Power Sports out of Newport, New Hampshire. The 34 of Matthew Stoddard out of Gray, Maine. And the 127 of Mike Wynn also on the lineup. Looks like we have two of our riders making the call. Side by side, slight advantage to the 451 of Adams on the outside. Stoddard putting on a nice battle there on the inside. Up through that second and third course. It's still anyone's game. Slight advantage now to the 451 of Adams. Adams pulls up to the outside. Up and over the checkered flag finish. Adams gonna take the W here in heat number 2. Stoddard gonna settle for second place. Race 12 up next. 600, 650 stock LT. Heat race winners. The 2025 of Adam Levy, sponsored by Green Mountain Racing, FXR Woodies. The 242 of Clayton Green from Warren, New Hampshire. We also have the 64 of Wyatt Packin, sponsored by HK Power Sports. And the 30 of Lucas Vadi, sponsored by Why We Ride Podcast, Stud Boy, and USI Skis. And we may also have the 12 of Brennan Camo on here as well, out of Nashaw, New Hampshire. It looks like we have 3 of our sleds up here right now. Green light is out, and away we go. Up through that first section of the hill. Nice little battle between our top 2 competitors. A little bit of space before we get back to our third place rider. And it's going to be the 64 of Wyatt Packin taking the win here in the 600, 650 stock class. Clayton Green finishing second. And Adam Levy winning his class as well as the lone rider in his division. Up next, race 13. Heat race winner was the 1 of William Schmidt out of Holland Patton, New York. We have the 3 of Sean Keneally from Laconia, the 157 of Brendan Mellinson from Laconia, and the 873 of Sean Sullivan from Laconia as well. 3 Laconia riders trying to dominate this 850 stock class, but it's the 1 of William Schmidt the only non-New Hampshire rider in this class who was able to take home the gold in the first heat race. See if Laconia is going to be able to battle back in this second heat race. Riders at the lineup. Sullivan on the inside. Keneally on the outside. Looks like one of our riders chatting with a track worker might be having some slight issues. Flagger is all set with the riders, making sure they're all good to go. Just making sure everything is set and ready before we get back to green flag action. Starter checks the line. Everyone is good. Racers at the ready. Flagman gives them the sign. Lights are out. And we are 850 stock ST Racing. Two sled battles side by side up at the lead. Slight advantage to the one. Schmidt gonna take the win. Taking the win for New York. Melanson, Keneally, and Sullivan gonna round out your rest of your field. Race 14 officially halfway through the second round of heats. 850 to 900 open LT. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, sponsored by HK Power Sports. The 64 of Brian Burkle, riding the East Up Automotive Bibbins Sales and Service, number 64. The 102 of Wyatt Keegan from Fort Fairfield, Maine. And the 264 of John Burgoyne, racing for Ideal Block Co., HK Power Sports. And Frigid something racing. Flagman gives them the sign. We're single file already with our top competitor putting on an absolute clinic, pulling away from the other riders, making it look simple. Brian Whaley with almost a 3-second advantage over the 264 of Burgoyne. Whaley gonna take the win. Burgoyne second. Keegan rounding out your top three. Race 15 plus 30 open up next. Race 1 of 2 for this class. In this first half, though, we have the 3 of Sean Keneally. Heat race winner, the 52 of Travis Wickham. The 44 of Eric Bordeaux, sponsored by Articat, Shock Tech, Trailside Power Sports. And the 157 of Brendan Melanson, rounding out your 4 sled field. Wickham, your heat race winner, opting to take that deep inside line. And it looks like it works just like he needs it to. Wheeling a bit off the start, but he's able to pull away from the 157 of Melanson. Wickham gonna take the easy race win there. Melanson gonna finish second. Sean Keneally rounding out your podium with Bordeaux finishing fourth. That was your first half of plus 30 open. Now we're going to bring on half number 2. Heat race winner was the 221 of the Amsoil Studboy Climb CNA Action Off-Road Jared McClure powered machine. We have the 873 of Sean Sullivan out of Laconia, New Hampshire. The 253 of Kyle Sackett, sponsored by HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets. And the 192 of Eric White out of Laconia, New Hampshire. Again, we got a triple Laconia class here. Jared McClure on the 221. That second from the inside there in the black and yellow. The only rider not from Laconia. Making the way out from Casca, Pennsylvania to race here this morning at Tenney Mountain. Flagger gives them the go. And Pennsylvania's in the lead here. Not for long, though, as we've got the Laconia native taken on the outside. And it's going to be the 253 of Sackett taking the win here for Laconia. Sackett going to take the win. Sponsored by HK Power Sports, Garnier Boots, and Just One Helmets. McClure going to finish second for good old Pennsylvania. And White on the 192 is going to round out your top 3. Race 17 up next. 850 to 900 Open LT class. 4 competitors on the lineup today. The 18 of Brian Hesseltine, sponsored by HK Power Sports, out of Sandborton, New Hampshire. The 64 of Brian Burkle, sponsored by East Up Automotive, Bibbins Sales and Service. The 264 of John Burgoyne, piloting the Ideal Block Co. HK Power Sports, number 264. And your heat race winner, the RACI in the all black, Tyler Duncan, with the nice hole shot, if you will, leading the charge up through the mountain, absolutely pulling away from his other 2 competitors. Setting the pace up over that slight curve, and at the checkered flag, Duncan is going to take the win yet again. Going 2 for 2 in this class. Burgoyne going to finish second, and it's Hasseltine on the 18 rounding out your top 3. Race 18 up next. Heat race winner was the 33 of Junior Sierra, sponsored by Stud Boy, Letter Rip, Klotz, and JB Products. The 902 of Dana Christofferson, the 44 of Eric Bordeaux, and the 77 of Ryan McTaggart make up your lineup for race number 18. Heat number 1 of 2 for our plus 3600 stock class. 4 riders in Heat 1, 4 riders to follow in Heat 2, making up races 18 and 19. Far outside, you'll see the 77 of Ryan McTaggart, sponsored by Pichette Brothers Construction, Stud Boy, C&A Pro Skis. Next to him, the 44 of Eric Bordeaux, sponsored by Articat, Shock Tech, Trailside Power Sports. Nice little circling shot of our riders here. Heat race 1 winner, taking that second to the inside line. The flag is waved. Side-by-side battle at the front of the field. The 33 of Sierra is trying to go 2 for 2, but he's got company right to the inside. The 902 of Christofferson putting a chase on him, and he's able to get that inside line. Dana Christofferson going to take the win away from Sierra. Sierra going to settle for second this time by. Bordeaux rounding out your top 3, as we've got a fully different finishing positions for all 4 of our riders in race number 18 for the first half of plus 3600 stock. That was the first half, like I just said. Up next, we're going to have the second half. Heat 2 of 2 for plus 3600 stock. Heat race winner, sponsored by HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, and Garnier Boots. We have the 253 of Kyle Sackett out of Laconia, New Hampshire. Finished second was the 712 of Devin Dacre from Old Forge, New York. The 314 of Nate Wilkinson and the 157 of Brendan Mellinson rounding out your 4-sled field for heat number 2. Riders ready. Flag is waved. Early advantage to the 253 of Kyle Sackett, going to try to lead the charge. We've got a side-by-side battle for second and third. The 314 of Wilkinson has second. Mellinson wants second. We're single file. Sackett going to take the win, and Wilkinson going to take that battle for second, leaving Diker to round out your podium for race number 19. Race 20 up next. Ditchbanger 2004 to 2009. 6 competitors in this class. Heat race winner, sponsored by Green Mountain Racing, FXR, and Woody's, was the 2004 of Adam Levy. We have the 824 of James Allard, the 1 of Charles Gulbicki, the 49 of Sean Sullivan, the 117 of Mark Restano, and the 55 of Robert Knight, making up your 6-sled field for race number 20. Riders at the ready. Flagman checks them. Make sure everyone is good to go. You can see our nice drone there in the background of our riders, getting a little footage. Great view of that uphill track we've got. Flagger sets the riders. We're up and ready to go. Levy off the line first, leading the charge up through this triple-sectioned hill cross, but we've got a 3-rider battle for second, third, and fourth, down to a 2-rider battle for second and third, battle for the lead. Levy has it, Knight wants it, who's it gonna be? Side by side, 0.3 seconds separating them. Levy is gonna take your race win by a smidge. The 55 of Knight gonna finish second, and Gulbicki is gonna round out your top 3 in race number 20. Race 21 up next. 850 900 stock LT, heat 1 of 2. The 64 of Wyatt Packin was your heat race winner. The 102 of Wyatt Keegan. 264 of John Burgoyne. HX of Nicholas Giorgantis. The 24 of Zachary Warner. And the 64X of Brian Burkle round out your field. Looks like Burkle and Warner are scratches. Another beautiful shot of the facilities here at splendid Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire, where even though it's 52 degrees right now, we still got some great snow here out at these facilities. Riders are ready to go. Revving their engines. Green light is out. And we are racing. First half of our 850 to 900 stock LT class. Up the hill. Giorgantis gonna take the win. Finished 4th in the first heat, taking the win in the second heat. Keegan gonna finish second on the 102. Burgoyne rounding out your podium for the first half of our 850 to 900 stock LT class. Second half, though, heat race winner was the 02 of Brian Whaley from Laconia, sponsored by HK Power Sports. We also have the 20 of Jacob Doyen, the 26 of Austin Pass, the 2 of Josh Began, and the 4 of Robert Drew, all making the call. Five riders.
I'm switching batteries after this.
Setting the call for race number 22 in this second set of heats. Throttles at the max. The flag is up and away we go. 3 side-by-side riders in second, third, and fourth. It's a 2-rider battle for fourth and fifth. Out front alone, though, completely uncontested, Brian Whaley gonna take the W with more than a 2-second advantage over the 20 of Doyen, finishing second. Pace, Began, and Drew gonna round out your field for the second half of our 850 900 stock LT class. Race number 23 up next. 850 to 900 Open ST. Heat race winner was the 253 of Kyle Sackett. We also have the HX of Nicholas Giorgantis, hot off a heat race win, and the 157 of Brendan Mellinson. Three riders, 2 classes. RPMs are up. Sackett on the outside. Giorgantis on the inside. Mellinson in the middle with the slight advantage out of the gate, pulling away from the rest of the field. Side by side at the end. Giorgantis gonna take the W Melanson in second. Sackett taking the win in his class. 24 up next. 4 races left to go in this second set of heats for the 850 to 900 stock LT class. Heat 1 of 2. We have the 816 of Sean Manzi out of Inlet, New York, your heat race winner. The 616 of Eric Kane from Franklin, New Hampshire. 77 of Ryan McTaggart, sponsored by Pichette Brothers Construction. Stud Boy CNA Pro Skis, along with the 0 of Donald Levitt from New Gloucester, Maine. Flagger checks the riders, gives them the sign, and it's 4 wide up through this first section. It's still a 3-rider battle at the front. Now down to a side-by-side battle for first and second and third and fourth. At the checkered flag, who's it going to be? Sean Manzi on the 816, taking the win yet again. Kane going to finish second. McTaggart and Levitt going to round out your field. That was the first half of 850 to 900 stock LT. Let's see what the second half brings us. Heat race winner was the 2 of Josh Began from Goffstown, New Hampshire. We have the 11 of Colin Sheehan from Meredith, New Hampshire. The 20 of Jacob Doyen, sponsored by Doyen's Appliance, Capstone Landscaping, OGO Slick Products, and Liat out of Methuen, Massachusetts. And rounding out your 4 sled field, we have the 4 of Robert Drew from Windham, New Hampshire. Looks like 3 of our riders are making the call. Began, heat race winner, taking that outside line. The flag is up. Began not with the start that he wanted. Able to hold on to second, but not by much. Battling up at the top, trying to make that pass for the win. Bobbles it a bit. And that's going to be just what he needed to not take that W over. Sheehan on the 11 is going to be your heat race winner. Began going to finish second. Drew rounding out your field. Up next, 850 to 900 stock ST. Heat race winner was the 1 of William Schmidt from Holland Patton, New York. The 11 of Devin Diker. The 3 of Sean Keneally. The RMK of Andrew Perusta. And the 253 of Kyle Sackett rounding out your field. 5 sleds. Nice look at the full track layout that we have here. You can see it's kind of broken into a couple different sections. There's that very first hill that they crest, get to a slight plateau, move up to a second section, onto a third, then they take a slight left before they come up to the checkered flag there, just outside of the tree line. One of our riders going around, relining up, making sure they are all set and ready to go. Opting to take that far outside line. May have been the 253 of Sackett. Lights are out. One rider almost taking out our cameraman there. Little side-by-side battle up at the front of the field. It's going to be the 1 of William Schmidt, though, taking the W. 253 of Sackett finishing second. Keneally going to round out your podium with Diker and Perusta going 4 and 5. Final heat race for heat number 2 heading up now. 600 stock ST class. Heat race winner was the 81X of Wesley Ganshaw. We have the 16 of Colton Gillian, the 9 of Thomas Sylvester, the 451 of Dylan Adams, 157 of Brennan Melanson, and the 118 of Jake Barrows. Our drone pilot circling the riders, giving us a good view from all angles. Flagger checks the riders. Green is out, and away we go for our final heat race of Hillcross action here today at Tenney Mountain. Side-by-side battle for the lead. Might possibly be flirting with a three-rider battle for the lead. But out front alone, holding on to things strong. He's going to go 2 for 2 in our heat races. It's the 81X of Wesley Ganshaw taking the win today. In our final heat race of the day, the 16 of Gillian going to finish second. And it's the 9 of Thomas Sylvester rounding out your three-rider podium. Looks like I was mistaken, folks, so I do apologize for that. Thought we had 27 heat races. We do actually still have the full 31, so we have 4 more heat races left to go before we get to the end of our heat racing action here. Up next, one of our riders seems to be having some issues going on with his helmet. We're going to get things reordered with our riders here. Make sure everyone is set and ready and good to go. In the meantime, we'll take a nice look at the uphill action. So you see they take that first crest, come up to this second section, move over to the side. Here's a nice little view of our drone team that you see there, flying the drones for us this weekend here at Tenney Mountain for some Sunday Fun Day racing action. Checking out the 15 mobile here. Not sure if we're having some safety issues or some machine issues, but they seem to be checking something out there on or near the sled. Again, a nice view of the facilities here at good old Tenney Mountain. Tenney Mountain, one of our top sponsors that we have here tonight. Huge thank you to them for bringing the Sunday Fun Day action all the way over from Minnesota to beautiful Plymouth, New Hampshire to do a full weekend of Mountain Sled Fest racing. Couldn't have done it without Tenney Mountain, as well as the National Guard helping us out here today. HK Power Sports, Skidoo Can-Am, Southside Sales, Polaris, Pranoth Groomers, all along for the help. They're our main premier sponsors this weekend. Make sure to give them a thanks if you see them out in the area. Along with them, though, Rugged Radios along for the ride, helping out with our communications here this weekend. North Point Equipment Rentals, and Staging Pro as well. Race 28, though. Up next, 600 stock ST. 5 riders, the 1 of Charles Gobicki, HX of Nicholas Giorgantis, 44 of Eric Bordeaux, 171 of David Blaird, and the 194 of Spencer De La Brewer. De La Brewer with the hot jump on the inside. He was your heat race winner, trying to make it 2 for 2 for Minnesota here. Up through that second section, cresting that plateau to the third, making that slight sweeping left up to the checkered flag, and the checkered is out for Ham Lake, Minnesota's 194 of Spencer De La Brewer. De La Brewer taking the win for Carbide Podcast, Woody's, X Racing, Ridge, Dennis Kirk, Hot Stuff Kitchen, Fly Racing, and Southside Polaris. That was your 600 stock ST class. Up next, 600 to 650 open ST, heat 1 of 2. Heat race winner was the 58 of Luke Kearney. We have the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 716 of Nicholas Keating, the 177 of Sam Heckman, and the 33 of Junior Sierra. Engines rev. Flagger checks the riders. And away we go. 3-rider battle up at the front for the lead. Turning into a 2-rider battle for second and third. 4 wide almost up through second, third, fourth, and fifth. But out front alone, though, leading the charge, it's the 58 of Luke Kearney. Taking another heat race win for Kearney Pallets. Heckman going to finish second on the 177. Keating rounding out your podium on the 716. That was heat race number 1 of 2 for our 600-650 Open ST class. Up next to line up is the second half of that same crew. Heat race winner was the 02 of Brian Whaley out of Laconia, New Hampshire. We have the 221 of Jared McClure from Casca, Pennsylvania. The 122 of Benjamin Adams from Blue Hill, Maine. The 12 of Brennan Camo from Nashua, New Hampshire. And the 30 of Lucas Vadi from Mansville, New York. 5 riders in this second half of our 600-650 Open ST class. Drone getting a nice circle footage of our riders making their way around. Looks like 4 of our riders making the call. I see McClure there on the inside. The 221. Engines revving. Flagger checking on our riders, but we're all set and ready to go. Flag is up, and it's a drag race up the hill, side by side for the lead. Setting the pace and leading the charge from the right-hand lane. Up top, checkered flag is out for the 02 of Brian Whaley taking the win. Whaley going to take the win today for HK Power Sports. McClure going to settle for second on the 221. Adams rounding out your top 3. Alrighty, folks. Now we're at the final heat race of the day. 600 to 650 Open ST. We have 4 competitors lining up. Heat race winner was the 716 of Nicholas Keating out of North Adams, Massachusetts. The 194 of Minnesota's Spencer De La Brewer in second. The 918 of Hunter Riley in third, and the 157 of Brendan Mellinson rounding out your 4 sled field for race number 31, 600 to 650 Open ST. One final race separates us from our main events today. Our riders are all lined up and ready to go, wearing their warm weather gear, as you can see. Mellinson showing off the guns. Jumping at the bit. Clutch ready to go. Dropping the hammer. And it's a 2-sled battle up front for the lead. Might be turning into a 3-sled battle as our drone goes up and around. Drone is down, but Hunter Riley is up. The 918 of Riley taking the win in our final heat race today. 716 of Nicholas Keating in second. De La Brewer rounding out your top 3. And just like that, now we are officially brought to a close on our heat racing action of the morning. We've gone through 62 races so far this morning, getting through all of our heat races. And now we're going to be moving on to our main event action here, slowly but surely.
Did they get it? I don't have
We're going to do some quick track prep over here, make sure everything is ready to go for our main events. In the meantime, though, take a few minutes to stretch your legs, and we're going to head to a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
You just gotta let me know so I can tell him so he can run someone up or run it up. So are we good?
Good?
The guy that was flying is walking down to get it right now.
I got hit 1 year.
I'm used to it though. I know they keep coming on the radio like, man, you need to stand back. Like, we don't need to go up there. Most people, if they were smart, like it happened right there, they would move. That's what they were telling you here. If you want to move, like
You're looking at it through a lens.
yeah, I think. I could go and help him.
Well, yeah, but you can pick up your eyes from
Yeah.
looking at it through. Video camera probably looks a little closer than
I know, but like I'll look through the top.
Welcome back, race fans. We've gone through our first 2 sets of heats for the morning here for some Hillcross competition, and now we are officially back for our main events. Like I said earlier, we had 2 sets of heats going on this morning. Started things bright and early at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Have to specify the eastern side because as opposed to being in Minnesota where you might be used to seeing MBTV Sports and X Racing Sunday Funday events, we're over on the east coast of the United States this weekend, bringing action to you live for free from Tenney Mountain in Plymouth, New Hampshire for the Mountain Sled Fest Ultimate Snowmobile Racing Weekend. Started things off last night doing some snowcross racing here, did a couple sets of heats and a feature. This morning we're here doing some hillcross racing. Did our first 2 heats earlier on today, started bright and early at 11:30 a.m. Now we're back officially for our main events of the hillcross racing portion. After this, we're gonna take a super quick break, go through, move some things around as we go back over to our snowcross and Sunday Funday portion of our evening here, where we'll be starting things off at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time to bring you some snowcross action on the track that you saw last night if you zoomed in on our streaming services, our live stream from last night. Then we're also going to be going on to an infield track of sorts to do a Sunday Funday set of races as well. For the snowcross portion, we'll be doing 2 heats and a feature just like we did last night. For the Sunday Funday portion, for those of you who have had the pleasure of seeing a Sunday Funday event with X Racing, we'll be following that format, the 1 heat, 2 final sort of racing. And then tomorrow we'll come to a close on our weekend of Mountain Sled Fest activities with some racing at 11:30 a.m. for your good old-fashioned Sunday Funday racing series. 1 heat, 2 features, to officially bring a close to the Sunday Funday events for 2025. We've been racing all winter long over in Elk River, Minnesota at ERX Motor Park. We did a race a little bit earlier on in Maine. We tried to get some racing in Eau Claire, didn't quite get it. Did some racing in New Hampshire this weekend. And then we're going to get things all prepped and ready to go for 2026 later on. But for right now, gotta bring things back to the present day. Like I said, we're here for main event action for the Hillcross portion of our morning activities here at Tenney Mountain in good old beautiful Plymouth, New Hampshire. You can see on the drone footage right there that we've got some great snow out here, even with the phenomenal weather that we're having. It's a brisk 52 degrees, nice and warm, sunny. Few of us are sweating over here, it's so warm, but the snow was able to stick around for one last weekend of snowmobile racing for the season. We're just a few moments away from some main event action. For our heats, we had 31 races in each set of heats, 31 for Heat 1, 31 for Heat 2. For our main events, though, we're narrowing things down a bit, bringing things all together. We'll be having 23 races for this final portion of the morning, bringing everyone all together, making sure that they are all set and ready to go. Adding some competitors to a few classes. One of our classes, the 600 stock ST class, gonna have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 competitors racing up that hill. Few classes just have a handful of competitors still, 2, 3 racers. But for the most part, we've got some nice big classes coming up here. So we'll be seeing some good action during the main events of our Hillcross. As a reminder, we couldn't be out here in good old Plymouth, New Hampshire if it weren't for some of our amazing sponsors. Thank you to Tenney Mountain for bringing us out here. You know, we love their facilities here. We love getting to work with them. They're letting us design 2 tracks on their beautiful ski slopes. So we're super thankful to them for helping us out. The National Guard, another one of our main sponsors this weekend. HK Power Sports, Skidoo KMN. Southside Sales Polaris also helping us out. For those of you in the New Hampshire area, make sure to check in on those 2 areas. Thank them for supporting the Sunday Fun Day efforts here at Tenney Mountain. And Prinoth Groomers, another premier sponsor of the weekend as well. Big thank you to all 5 of those groups for helping us out so that we can bring you some hill climb action today. We saw all day. It's going to be the 10 of Chase Meekin taking the win. Camo going to finish second. And Champagne taking the win in the women's 600 stock ST class. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first checkered flag of main event racing today. Race number 2 up next. 600 650 Open LT. Supposed to have 2 competitors there. It looks like it's just the 30 of Lucas Vadi making the call. Camo was just in the last race, so we might be giving him a minute to get all ready, get back down the hill and get back on his sled. Lucas Vadi, in the meantime, sponsored by Why We Ride Podcast, Polaris, Studboy, and USI Skis. Giving our rider just a moment to get relined up for his 600 650 Open LT race. Vadi sitting at the starting line, all ready to go. And there we go. Fresh off his second place finish in the junior 14 to 17 class, Camo making his way up to the line for his next race. Two riders making sure they are all set. And it looks like we might even have a third rider getting into the mix. Three riders at the line. Looks like that might be Jacob Doyen on the inside. Just making sure we have the correct starting lineup here before we get back to some green flag action. Again, another look at the beautiful facilities here at Tenney Mountain. If you look over on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to see part of the Snocross Sunday Fun Day track that we were on later last night and that we'll be on in a few hours here again later this evening. But right now, we're right in that middle portion for the Hillcross section of our day. You can see it right up there through the middle. They have that first hill that the riders go up, then they have a slight plateau before they get to the second hill. Move their way up to the third, and then a quick left-hand turn before they get to the checkered flag. Vadi getting things all started. Green flag is out, and it looks like it's just Vadi taking the line up. Moving his way up the hill. Lucas Vadi gonna take the win in the 600 650 Open LT class. Close battle for him. But now we'll go to race 3, our Mountain Sled LT class. Heat race winner was the 11 of Ken Bell. We also have the RACI of Tyler Duncan, the 242 of Clayton Green, the 20 of Jacob Doyton there on the inside, the 0 of Donald Levitt, the 64 of Brian Burkle, and the 127 of Mike Wynn. Looks like 5 of our sleds making the call. Wynn and Burkle seem to be the 2 not making it. Green on the outside. Duncan just to his left. Duncan, one of your heat race winners. Five riders wide at the starting lineup. Flag is up. The hammer is down. And one of our riders taking a full pull out front, just like we saw earlier on today. It's the RACI of Tyler Duncan taking the win in the Mountain Sled LT class for Profile Power Sports and Backwoods BMP. Jacob Doyen going to finish second on the 20. Ken Bell on the 11, your heat race winner, going to round out your podium for race number 3. Race number 4 up next, our first packed gate of the day. Heat race winner was the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 307 of Jake Lux, the 02 of Brian Whaley, the 45 of Sam Heckman, the 81X of Wesley Ganshaw, the 58 of Luke Kearney, the 118 of Jake Barrows, 902 of Dana Christofferson, and the 221 of Benjamin Adams make up your 9 sled field for our 600 stock ST class. Going to make sure our sleds are all lined up and ready to go in their correct starting orders. And it's looking like the 45 of Sam Heckman may be opting to start on the back row. Just as I say it, he moves up to the main row again, taking that deep inside line. 9 riders. 2,200 feet between them and glory. Revs are up. The hammer is down and we are racing. 3 wide up at the top. A 2-rider battle for 4th and 5th. Turns into a 4-wide battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Out front alone, though, it's the 307 of Jake Lux taking the win in our first stacked class of the day. Whaley leading that 4-rider battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Going to take home that silver. And Sackett is going to round out your podium on the 253 machine. Race 5 up next, another packed crowd. 600 stock ST. This is our B main for this class. Last race was the A main. This one is going to be our B class. We have the 12 of Brennan Camo, the 30 of Lucas Vadi, 44 of Eric Bordeaux, 55 of Robert Knight, 64 of Wyatt Packin, 218 of Kevin Gottfried, 451 of Dylan Adams, 712 of Devin Diker, and the 2025 of Adam Levy, making up your 9-rider field for your 600 stock ST B main. Nice shot from up top. A full look at our field here. For you guys today, Packin on the 64 going to take the easy W. Minute behind, or a second behind, is the 712 of Devin Daker in second. And the 44 of Bordeaux is going to round out your top 3 here for our 600 stock STB main. Race 6 up next. We had 9 riders in the last 2 races. Now we're down to a light race here. 2 riders. The junior 9 to 13 class. Heat race winner was the 10 of Chase Meekin, sponsored by HK Power Sports out of Meredith, New Hampshire. We also have the 12 of Brennan Camo from Nishaw, New Hampshire. 2 racers at the line. Flag is up. And there we go. Meekin again with the good jump. Meekin's been having great starts all morning today. Absolutely killing it. Multiple heat race wins. He's looking to make it into a feature win as well. Already has 1 feature win on the day. And just like that, he adds his second to the books. Chase Meekin winning the junior 9-13 class. Race 7 up next, Trail Sled Open ST. 4 competitors. Heat race winner was the 1 of William Schmidt out of Holland Patton, New York. The 55 of Robert Knight from Newport, New Hampshire finished second. The 72 of Carl Riley from Bristol, Maine rounded out your podium. And the 99 of Brad Hartwick is our final competitor in this 4-rider battle for race number 7, Trail Sled Open ST. Looks like we have 3 racers lining up here for race number 7. And we might be seeing our 4th coming up here over the side. Now we've got a full field. Four riders lining up at the charge. The RPMs are moving. Flaggers out and away we go. Nice side-by-side battle for the lead there. Slight advantage to the inside. William Schmidt looking to make it 3 for 3 in this class today. Up over that left-hand slight turn, over the checkered flag, and William Schmidt is a feature race winner. Doing the clean sweep on the Trail Sled Open Short Track class today. Knight gonna finish second, Riley rounding out your top 3. Race 8 up next, 2 classes hitting the track. In the plus 40 open class, heat race winner was the 11 of Ken Bell, HX of Trevor Tatro, and the 111 of Lonnie Hellman. In the plus 40 600 class, heat race winner was the 121 of Benjamin Urso, sponsored by Land & Sea Power Sports, Rathburn Performance, Addison Cabling Solutions, and Goodwin Performance. We also have the F7 of Jay Page rounding out your field. 5 riders on the lineup. All 5 making the call for race number 8. Looks like the F7 of Jay Page just needed to get resituated. It was a little too far forward, pulled it back a little bit too much. Now we're all good on lineup. Starter checks the line. Green flag is out. And away we go. Single file throughout the field up through the first 2 sections of the Hillcross track. And just like we've been seeing all day, another clean sweep in the books. For plus 40 open winner, the 11 of Ken Bell taking the overall win and winning the plus 40 open class. Tatro and Hellman round out that class. Benjamin Urso going to take the W in the plus 40 600 stock class, with Jay Page following behind in second. Up next, race number 9, Ditchbanger 1990 to 2003 class. Here's another stacked class for you guys. 2, 4, 6, 8 riders. Heat race winners were the 192 of Eric White, the 218 of Kevin Godfried, and the 873 of Sean Sullivan. We also have the 451 of Adams, 918 of Riley, the 34 of Stoddart, and the 027 of Ross. Green light is out, and away we go. 2 riders up front. Close battling for first and second. Another 2-rider battle for third and fourth as we crest over that second section of the hill. Up and around the left-hand side, up to the checkered flag. Checkered flag is out for your race winner, Eric White, on the 192, taking the W here today for Polaris. Hunter Riley finishing second, and the 451 of Dylan Adams rounding out your top 3. That was race number 9. Race number 10 up next. We have our 600, 650 stock LT classes. We have the 2025 of Adam Levy, the 64 of Wyatt Packin, the 12 of Brennan Camo, the 242 of Clayton Green, and the 30 of Lucas Vadi. 5 racers in our 600, 650 stock LT class. Four sleds at the lineup right now. And it looks like that's what we'll be sending out today. Starter checks the line. Riders are ready. Green light is out. And it's a dual showdown. Side by side for the lead. Side by side for third and fourth. Now a separation. We might be seeing a 3-rider battle for the lead. But up front alone, though, leading the charge. Wyatt Packin's going to take the win up and over those checkered flags. Adam Levy going to follow behind in second. Clayton Green rounding out your top 3 in the 600, 650 stock LT class. Race 11, 850 stock ST coming up next. We have the 3 of Sean Keneally, the heat race winner out of Laconia, New Hampshire. The 1 of William Schmidt from Holland Patton, New York. The 157 of Brendan Mellinson. And the 873 of Sean Sullivan. Sullivan, Mellinson, Keneally, all looking to take home the win for New Hampshire today, Laconia specifically. Schmidt, the lone New York rider in this class. Green light is out. It's a 4-wide battle up through that first section. Side by side for first and second and third. One lone rider setting the pace, leading the charge. Gonna give New York some glory. Give it up for your feature race winner, the number 1 himself of William Schmidt, taking home the W for Holland Patton. Laconia gonna settle for second, third, and fourth. Mellinson, Keneally, Sullivan, 2, 3, 4. Race 12 up next. This will put us at the halfway point of our main events. 850 to 900 Open LT. Heat race winner was the 02 of Brian Whaley. We have the 264 of John Burgoyne, the 102 of Wyatt Keegan, and the 64 of Brian Burkle. Burkle, a DNS on the heat races. Seems like we might be missing him again for the features. So it's Whaley, Burgoyne, Keegan, 1, 2, 3 at the lineup for our 850 900 Open long track class. Jumping at the bit, ready to go. Flagger checks the racers. Flag is up, and we're racing. Up and over through that first section, pulling away from that 2-rider battle for second and third. Whaley setting the pace, bringing up the charge through that left-hand slight turn, up over the checkered flag, and Brian Whaley going with the clean sweep again. Taking home the win for HK Power Sports today. It'll be Burgoyne and Keegan rounding out second and third on your podium. Race 13 up next, plus 30 Open. Heat race winner was the 52 of Travis Wickham out of Barneveld, New York. We had the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 873 of Sean Sullivan, the 157 of Brendan Mellinson, the 221 of Jared McClure, Sean Keneally piloting the 3, Eric White on the 192, and the Articat Shock Tech Trailside Power Sports sponsored number 44 of Eric Bordeaux, rounding out our 8-sled lineup for race 13 plus 30 Open. Eyes in the skies. Getting ready to hit the hill. Flag is up. And it's a drag race up that first section. 3 wide for first through third and fourth through sixth. It's turned into a three-rider battle up front. One lone leader out front. Sackett trying to put it up for everyone else. McClure, Wickham side by side for second and third, and it's Sackett who's taking the checkered flag. McClure gonna take the edge up for second place in that battle for second and third, with Wickham settling for the bottom step of the podium. Race 14 up next, 850 to 900 open long track. Heat race winner was the RACI of Tyler Duncan. John Burgoyne on the Ideal Block Co. HK Power Sports number 264. The 18 of Brian Hesseltine racing for HK Power Sports out of Sandborton, New Hampshire. 3 riders for race 14, 850 to 900 open long track class. Nice little shot of some of our spectator viewing areas there. Down at the bottom of the hill, over on the right side of your screen, the left side of the hill, another little section there as we get up to that first plateau. Riders are anxious. Light is out. And it's Duncan with the early race lead up through the middle, wheeling up through that first and second sections as he gets away from that second and third place rider battle for 2 and 3. Out front, though, checkered flag is out for RACI's Tyler Duncan. Duncan taking the win for Profile Power Sports and Backwoods BMP. Burgoyne and Hasseltine going to round out your podium. Race 15 up next. 8 riders today for our plus 30 600 stock class. Heat race winner was the 902 of Dana Christofferson, racing for Doug's Power Sports. We also have the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 33 of Junior Sierra, the 314 of Nate Wilkinson, the 44 of Eric Bordeaux, Devin Dacre on the 6, Ryan McTaggart on the 77, and Brendan Mellinson on the 157. 8 riders wide. Ready to take the green. The 712 of Dacre to the inside. Lights are out and away we go. 3-rider battle up at the front. Dacre trying to make it a 4-rider battle. Dacre moving up, trying to make that pass for third. The battle up front is between Wilkinson and Christofferson. Christofferson on the inside, Wilkinson on the outside. Checkered flag is out. Christofferson gonna take the win. The 902 of Dana winning for Doug's Power Sports today. Wilkinson gonna finish second. Dacre gonna complete that battle for third from the inside and take over that bronze step. Race 16, Ditchbanger 2004 to 2009. Heat race winner was the 2004 of Adam Levy from Stamford, Vermont, racing for Green Mountain Racing, FXR, and Woody's. The 55 of Robert Knight was in second. Charles Gulbicki piloting the 1. The 824 of James Allard from New Boston, New Hampshire. Sean Sullivan on the 49. Mark Restaino on the 117. Riders are ready. Flagger checks the gate. Flag is flying. And away we go up through the first section. 1 rider deep to the inside, pulling away from a 3-rider battle for third, fourth, and fifth. Second place rider trying to make up a move. Gets up almost to the side. Checkered flag is out, side by side. Pass for the lead at the last second. Adam Levy gonna take the win on the 2004 with barely a 0.2 second gap back to the 55 of Robert Knight. Knight had a great start off there, but Levi was able to get by on the side. Levy going to take the win for Green Mountain Racing, FXR, and Woody's. Knight going to finish second. Allard rounding out your top 3. Race 17 up next, 850 to 900 stock LT, one of our big money classes. So these guys are racing for some big dough, so we might be seeing some good racing here soon. Heat race winner was the HK of Nicholas Gigantes. We have the 02 of Brian Whaley, powered by HK Power Sports. Wyatt Keegan on the 102 from Fort Fairfield, Maine. Jacob Doyen, sponsored by Doyen's Appliances, Capstone Landscaping, Ogio, Slick Products, and Liat, racing on the 20. John Burgoyne on the 264, racing for Ideal Block Co. and HK Power Sports out of Laconia. Austin Pace on the 26. Wyatt Packin on the 64. The 2 of Josh Began from Goffstown, New Hampshire. And the 4 of Robert Drew rounding out your 9 sled field. One of our riders going up to help with a little bit of track work, fixing one of the flags up there. Going to come back down the hill, circle around, and retake that starting spot. Riders are relining up. Doyen on the inside with the 20 machine. Nine riders wide. For race 17, 850 to 900 stock long track class. Only a few races left through our main events this morning before we come back to racing action later on here tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for some Snocross and Sunday Funday racing action on the Snocross track. Right now we're taking a peek at the Hillcross track that we're racing on right now. Just behind us here, what would be a little below your screen is where our Snocross track has been featured here at Tenney Mountain this weekend. Riders are at the line, ready to take the green. Revs are up. Flag is out. Hammers are down, and away we go. Wheeling out through the start gate. One rider out front, way ahead of the rest of the field. Brian Whaley trying to show these young guns how it's done. Taking the win, Brian Whaley on the 0-2, winning it for HK Power Sports. Nicholas Giorgantis going to take second on the HX, and the 264 of John Burgoyne going to round out your podium here for race 17. Race 18 up next, our 850 to 900 open short track class. Heat race winners, the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the HX of Nicholas Giorgantis, and then the 157 of Brendan Mellinson, rounding out your 3 sled field for race number 18 of 23. Two of our racers making the lineup. Nicholas Giorgantis was just in the previous race on the HX machine. Most likely still coming down the hill to get relined up. Before we get back to some green flag action. There you can see Giorgantis up at the top, making his way down the hill there through that traffic, getting around those sleds so that he can get back up to the line. Quick look at our events for this weekend in the meantime. Like I said, we were here last night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for some Snocross racing. Right now we're doing that Hillcross racing there in the middle section of Saturdays. Down at the bottom you can see 5:30 tonight Eastern Time. We'll be back again in a new live stream for some Snocross and Sunday Funday racing. And then tomorrow morning we'll be here bright and early, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, getting ready. Riders meeting at 10 a.m., practice at 11. Sunday Funday racing begins at 11:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. All 3 riders are set up, ready to go on the lineup. Green flag is out, and we are racing. Sackett taking the early lead on the outside, pulling away to the right. We've got a nice little charge there from the back as Giorgantis makes his way up. Side-by-side battle for second and third. It's a who's who of who's it's going to be. Sackett taking the win, and it's Melanson finishing second place overall, with Giorgantis rounding out your top 3. Race 19 up next, 850 to 900 stock short track class competitors. Heat race winner was the 816 of Sean Manzi from Inlet, New York. The 11 of Colin Sheehan. Eric Kane on the 616. The 2 of Josh Began from Goffstown, New Hampshire. Pichette Brothers Construction Stud Boy C&A Pro Skis number 77 of Ryan McTaggart. The 4 of Robert Drew. And the 0 of Donald Levitt going to make the call. 6 racers up at the line. Wheeling out of the start gate. One of our sleds stalling it there. That leaves us with 5 going up the hill, single file. Nice little battle going as we've got one rider going up and over in the middle. It was our second place competitor dumping it down. Up front, though, Colin Sheehan going to make it through all of those drastic measures there to take over the win. Sheehan winning it on the 11. Manzi going to finish second. McTaggart going to round out your top 3. All riders are good to go, which seems good. Never like seeing a rider go down. But that brings us on to race 20. Last race was the long track version. Now we're on to 850, 900 stock short track. Heat race winner was the 1 of William Schmidt from New York. We also have the 253 of Kyle Sackett, the 3 of Sean Keneally, Devin Diker on the 11, and Andrew Perusta on the RMK. Making it out today. Last rider splitting the difference between our 2 groups, pulling into the middle there, getting elbow to elbow. Looks like that was Sackett pulling into the middle there. 5 wide at the starting line. Starter checks the riders. Makes sure they're all set and ready to go. Gives them the look. Green flag is up, and we are racing. Side-by-side battle for first and second, third, 3-rider battle, making it for the back end of the field. Up front, it's a who's who. Sackett to the inside, Schmidt to the outside. Who's it going to be? Sackett with a deep plunge down low, going to take the win away. On the 253, Sackett winning it for HK Power Sports, Garnier Boots, and LBR Moto. Schmidt gonna settle for second, with Diker rounding out your podium. Up next, race 21, 600 stock short track. Another large class here today. We have the 1 of Charles Golbicki, the 9 of Thomas Sylvester, the HX of Nicholas Giorgantis, 16 of Colton Gillian, 44 of Eric Bordeaux, Wesley Gonchow on the 81X, Jake Barrows on the 118, the 157 of Brendan Melanson, David Baird on the 171, the 194 of Spencer De La Brewer, and the 451 of Dylan Adams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 whole racers, 11 riders in this class. So we're going to take a minute here to get them all lined up. Make sure we can fit 11 on this row. This is our biggest class of the day. So we got to make sure everyone is set and ready before we go to green flag action. Ganshaw to the inside. Your heat race winner. Trying to make it through yet again. Spencer De La Brewer, another one of your heat race winners. Those are going to be the 2 to keep your eyes on here. 11 wide. Revs are up. Riders are at the ready. Flag is flying and away we go. 4 wide up through that first section, down to 3 wide. It's a 3-rider battle for the lead, side by side, up around that left-hand turn. Gillian with the slight advantage, Ganshaw to the outside, side by side. Might be a pass for the lead, just barely. Gillian's able to get by, take over that lead position with a .07 gap between him and Ganshaw. Gillian takes it away. Colton Gillian for Gillian & Sons Excavating, Southside Sales. Gonna take the win today. Ganshaw finishing second. Sylvester back to third. Race 22 up next. .02 of Brian Whaley, 30 of Vadi, 33 of Sierra, 58 of Kearney, 122 of Adams, 177 of Heckman, 221 of McClure, 253 of Sackett, and the 716 of Keating. All making the lineup for this race. Green flag is out, and away we go. Cameras back up just in time for the light to go green, as it's a 3-rider battle up front at the top for those top 3 positions. Up at the top, your race winner. We've seen him up on the podium multiple times today, but it's going to be the 253 of Kyle Sackett taking the win for HK Power Sports, LBR Moto, White Pine Builders, and Garnier Boots with the win. .02 of Brian Whaley in second, Luke Kearney on the 58 rounding out your podium. Last race of the day, hitting the track right now. Looks like 2 of our 4 competitors making the race. A third one coming up now. Race 23, 600 to 650 open short track. Heat race winner was the 918 of Hunter Riley. 716 of Nicholas Keating in second. Spencer De La Brewer from Ham Lake, Minnesota in third on the 194. And the 157 of Brendan Mellinson rounding out your 4-sled field. All 4 sleds making it to our final main event of the morning's activities here at Tenney Mountain. Making sure the lineup is all good for this final race. Looks like we are getting a 5th racer pulling up in here as well. I believe it's the 118 machine being added on last second. Green light is out, and away we go. Barrows on the inside, not even on the list, pulling up the early race lead. Up through the inside. 3-rider battle for the lead. We have a change of position. Checkered flag is out, and it's the rider from Minnesota taking the final feature race win of the morning. Spencer De La Brewer taking the win for Carbide Podcast, Woody's, X Racing, Ridge, Dennis Kirk, Hot Stuff Kitchen, Fly Racing, and Southside Polaris. Gonna take the win today. The 918 of Hunter Riley finishing second, and the 157 of Brennan Mellinson rounding out your field. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a close on our first portion of the racing activities today here at Tenney Mountain for the Mountain Sled Fest here with Sunday Fun Day and X Racing. We just finished up our Hillcross main events. We're going to take a short intermission here. It's 3 o'clock Eastern time right now. We will be back at 5:30 p.m., so in 2.5 hours for some Snocross and Sunday Fun Day racing over on the Snocross and Hillcross track. We'll be back here in just a few hours, changing locations very slightly, making a move over to the side a bit as we go back to the Snocross track that we were racing on last night. Down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the Hillcross track that we were just racing on a few minutes ago. But later tonight, we'll be over on the Snocross track. Right down below there, it's a little behind the Sunday Funday logo, but we'll be moving venues very quickly. Taking a look at that Snocross track right there, we have a couple different racing options that will be going there. A nice little rhythm section over on the left side of the screen. For a solid oval, competitors and spectators sitting in the middle being able to watch it all. But we will be back on the live stream under a new link in 2.5 hours. Feel free to get up, grab some lunch or dinner, depending on where you're watching this live stream from. Stretch around for a little bit. And we will be back soon for the second half of our racing portion today. Until then, thank you all for checking in on our stream, and we're going to send it over to a word from our sponsors.
When you've got to ship it from anywhere to anywhere,
QualityFreightRate.com.
the LTL Freight Logistics Specialist for your small business.
QualityFreightRate.com.
We simplify shipping, eliminate those surprise charges, and negotiate the best rates from most LTL qualified carriers.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Special residential and liftgate rates available for automotive and ag implements.
QualityFreightRate.com.
Use the promo code ICE and get 10% off your first shipment. Startup is so easy. Get a quote and ship today. QualityFreightRate.com.